Okay, not the pictures of the family, not the children or the wife. Or... Those are awesome answers. I enjoyed that. And what it did was it gave you a little insight into your colleagues. And I didn't really get into why Shelby's favorite show is The Office, because I don't think that needs explanation. So, yeah, self-explanatory. I'll say whatever makes you uncomfortable is your biggest opportunity to grow. I find that in most situations to be the truth. Uncomfortable, we were talking about awkward silence a minute ago. Uncomfortable situations are an opportunity for that particular growth inside of you. And you can take ownership of your career, no matter how much you earn. You're never too good or too highfalutin to get in there and, like I said earlier, roll up your sleeves, get to work, and get dirty. Funny thing, the more dirty you get, the more you learn about whatever you're doing. And you biomed folks certainly know that inside and out. So be open to those new experiences. Actually, I would suggest to you, seek them out, embrace them, and then let those situations totally ignite your creative person on the inside. Once you do that, things are bound to happen. Your growth potential exponentially gets bigger. So you also need to foster that philosophy of growth as your mantra. So believe in yourself. Remove self-doubt. That was one of my biggest things when I was going through my doctorate, was my own self-doubt. Can I do this? It was a long, grueling experience. It was, I started before COVID, 2 years before COVID, and it took 3 years after that to finish because of all of the hurdles and the barriers that were put in my way, just by virtue of a little bug. I say little bug, and I'm being facetious, of course, but so growth is an opportunity. I'm going to give you an example of growth and how it helped me to get forward in my career. So I use my Air Force ex-wife, 27 years. I have 4 Air Force brats. They live in San Antonio, Texas, heading there right on out of here. We got stationed in 1999 at Ramstein Air Force Base in Germany. It was so exciting. Finally, leaving Texas after 17 and a half years, it's unheard of in the military. You don't get to, homestead in any place. You have to move on. 17 and a half years, we were ready to go. Got to Germany. Beforehand, though, I had to apply for a job as a GS-9 in order to further my career as an X-ray tech there. I wanted to make sure I was relevant there and had a job. So I get there and I'm wide-eyed, and I'm thinking that the minute I walk in the door, they're going to hire me. So I walked in the door to the radiology department, and I was talking to the NCO of, I can't remember his name, but I was talking to the NCO, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, welcome to Germany, and no, the job isn't ready yet. Oh, and by the way, there are 7 other people who've applied." I was stunned. I thought I had it in the bag. I'd applied. I did everything they told me to do. Everything back then wasn't on the computer. So I had to literally mail these things to launched a regional medical center and the DOD and whatever else I had to do. So I get there and now I'm disappointed, but I'm not distraught. So I said, okay, there's more than one way to skin a cat. No pun intended. They call me Catwoman. And I went to the Red Cross and I said, you know what? I want to volunteer over in their X-ray department. What do I need to do? And they said, well, I need your credentials. Oh, I got those. Here's my credentials. When they need a license from a state that you were in, here you go, Texas license. So I gave them everything they needed. They gave me the good checklist. The next week, I went to the NCO again, and I said, look what I got. I'm going to volunteer. When do you need me? Oh, by the way, I can only do 3 days a week because I'm really kind of busy. I'll do from 8 o'clock in the morning until noon. I'll cover your lunches, no problem. So for 5 months, I worked for free at Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany. And guess what? The 8 other people that applied for the job did not get that job. I got the job because I put myself out there. I put the work in, I put the effort in, and I earned that job. And I'm telling you, oh, there was worry and there was fear. And then that exhilaration that I got the job. So those are some of the things that you have to do during your career to keep yourself relevant, to put yourself forward in order to be what you want to be in the end. One of the things that you really have to have is an attitude of gratitude. I can't tell you how important that is, to be grateful for all of your experiences. I was grateful the Red Cross was there. I was grateful that they gave me the thumbs up to, yeah, go ahead and volunteer. It's free labor, you know, and I worked hard. It wasn't easy. Be grateful for all that the gratitude is going to teach you along the way. Gratitude changes your entire perspective. I can't tell you how many times throughout the day that I'm walking and I thank God it's raining. Thank God I have 16 people in this class. Thank God Dr. Nick's here, because she gave me the biggest hug when I got in the door and I was nervous. So thank God for the small things. All of those small things matter. So when you're putting yourself forward and you're getting turned down, be grateful that you didn't get that job. You know what? You weren't supposed to be there. Move on, right? It's all about your emotional well-being, what's good for you, and the satisfaction you get from what you're doing. And I love this picture because everything on the top, it's all just surface. It's always in here for you. I'm going to talk about gratitude a little bit more. That is a picture. Anybody tell me what it is? Anybody know? Just throw some things out there. It's a painting, absolutely. What does it tell you about the artist? It could be. I did get it in, well, it could be, but to me, she's colorful. She's, you know, different. She flows and ebbs. She's that kind of artist. But let me tell you about this artist. So I was at a freestanding imaging center, and we were a niche. We did cardiac CTAs mostly, but we did other exams for people like virtual colonoscopies. One day I got a phone call from our gastroenterologist that we worked with, and he says, "Hey, Katherine, I have a patient who needs a virtual colonoscopy. Her colonoscopy failed. It couldn't get around the sigmoid." I said, "Okay, I gotcha. Send her over." So she came on over, and I'll call her Mrs. Smith. So Mrs. Smith came to my institution. Like I said, we were in a niche place. It was a beautiful place. I helped open it, and that's where I clean toilets. And so she came into the department, and I got her all changed, and I got her all ready to go, and I took her into the CAT scan room. Now, Mrs. Smith was a little barrel-bellied. She had a big belly, and the nicest lady in the world, loved her. So I explained to her what was going to happen. We were going to have to put you on your back to do the first set of images. Then we're going to have to, I'll come in here and we'll turn you back, we'll turn you over on your belly, and I have to get a second set of images, and then we'll be done. It's a real quick exam. So I get her set up on the table. I put the catheter in, I blow her up with air. That's when the doctors didn't do it. I did it all myself. Blew her up with air. I was very careful. I got enough air in. I said, "Tell me when you're starting to feel a little bit uncomfortable." She told me, "Go ahead and stop." So I ran into the CAT scan room, because you don't want to leave them that way because it's so uncomfortable. And I started the first scan. Got a really beautiful images. The air contrast was beautiful. So I ran back in the room. I said, "Okay, Mrs. Smith, it's time to turn over on your belly." So again, big belly, turn her over on her belly. She's squirming a little bit to get over on the belly. And the next thing you know, and I'm like, but I didn't do anything. And I said, "Okay, don't worry about that." She said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry." No, don't worry about it. We'll get you on your belly and I'll give you some more air in a minute. And so we did it. She adjusted herself again. And I was like, okay, we'll have to put more air in. She starts laughing. The more she laughs, the more air comes out, the harder I'm laughing. Now she's laughing, I'm laughing, and the air is still coming out. It was hilarious. You had to be there. But Eventually, we got her settled on her belly because her belly was pushing all the air out. We got her settled on her belly, and then I pumped some more air into her, and I got the prone colonoscopy part done, and I sent her on her way, and she thanked me. She was so grateful that I didn't make fun of her. She was so grateful that I laughed with her. She gave me a hug. So a week later, she comes back to our imaging center, and she gives me this gift because she was so grateful that the experience of a virtual colonoscopy was so positive. Go figure. But those are the little things that you do in your career to make a difference in a patient's life. Small things like that. I didn't think it was any great feat, but she did. So these are the kind of questions that you need to ask yourself when you're in the throes of trying to, pinpoint the things that you want to plan for your future and your career. So what motivates you? Because certainly what motivates Michael does not motivate Diane, right? Diane, what are you motivated by? Michael? You say your family, I'm no. What are you motivated by? Your career, family, what other things motivate you? Opportunity to succeed, maybe, right? Just getting through the one day. I remember going through my divorce the first time. I've been divorced twice, by the way. Don't judge me. The first time, though, it was devastating. I was talking to my girlfriend on the phone, and she's like, you got to get yourself together. I've been married 15 years. What do you mean? We have 4 kids. What do you mean I have to get myself together? I need to grieve this. I need to get through it my way. What are you saying? I can't. She says, well, then you need to get through it a day at a time. I said, I can't fathom a minute at a time right now. I'm going to do this on my own. It was hard. I married my high school sweetheart. We had 4 kids. Don't diminish people's, sadness. So what motivates you? What motivated me to get out of my funk was the fact that I had to be there for my kids. I had to get through x-ray school without any help from my spouse now. So you have different motivations at different times in your life. So when you're trying to propel your career forward, you got to figure out what your motivation is. So what gives you energy to affect positivity? Y'all give me energy. I know you're just sitting there, but you give me energy. I can feel it. What gives you energy? Jennifer? Oh, that's a good one because they do. They'll either suck you dry or they'll pump you up. And those days that pump you up, oh my God, aren't they great? Aren't they amazing? Those people, you just can't live without them. You have to assess your skills. Like I said, what makes you stand out from the lawn stool 8, right? So we have to kind of have goals. So let me go back to motivation for just a minute. So what motivated me in my career happened when I was in x-ray school in 1992. I graduated. So it was like 1989, 1990. So I was in my first 6 weeks of clinic or of class. And your first 6 weeks, you don't get to go play with patients. It's not, you just don't get to do it. How many got to go play with patients in their first 6 weeks of school, radiology school? So you know where I am. So I didn't get to play with any patients, and I was so excited to finally get my first assignment, my clinical assignment. I got to go to Bexar County Hospital. Anybody familiar with San Antonio, Texas? Well, let me just tell you, Bexar County was the county hospital. It's now called University Medical Center, so they upgraded themselves in name only, but it's still where all of the indigent patients go. It's the rough of the rough, and I was excited to get that assignment because I wanted to see it all. I'm really into trauma CT, so I wanted to make sure that I got the experience that I needed to do my job. So I get there and we're sitting around after we've been there for the first day, and I was in the IVP room where, you know, the tomograms, and then they had this really like circular tomograph. That was way back when we did tomos for kidney stones. Anyway, so I had done several tomograms, kidney stones exams that day, got real proficient in one day. And we were sitting around at lunch with 3 other seasoned techs, and I use that word lovingly, seasoned techs. They'd been there for a while. That was back when they didn't job hunt. They stayed and they retired from their clinics. And they were talking about their little war stories and talking about how they, day had gone. And then they asked me, well, why did you choose X-ray? Why are you in this field? And I said, I want to make a difference. And the laughter that ensued after that was deafening. They thought that was the funniest thing they ever heard. You're going to make a difference. Right, okay. You're going to make a difference. You'll see. You're not going to make a difference. Well, all it takes is one, right? One patient, one person, one experience to make that difference. Just one. I already did it, but I'm sure I touch more than just one, right? I'm sure you touch more than one in the daytime. So I'm motivated by challenge. I know that's kind of sick, but I am. So put a challenge in front of me and I'm going to take it on head on. How many here do that? Oh, I love you. You guys are awesome. So motivation in a career doesn't necessarily always bring you forward, but if you don't have it, you can't finish the puzzle that you're trying to build, right? So there are two different types of motivation. So we have intrinsic motivation and we have extrinsic motivation. The extrinsic motivations are what? What do you think an extrinsic motivation would be? Money, absolutely. What else? How about a trophy? A parking place, right? Well, he's easy. We'll give him some pizza. Our people didn't want pizza anymore. So give me some example of some intrinsic motivations that you might have.
Like my students get that, face.
Is that the old face that I don't get it, or the aha moment face? The light bulb moment. That is so self-satisfying. And I teach too. So when I see those faces, first of all, if I see the deer in the headlights, I'm like, oh my God, I got my work cut out for me. But if I see that deer in the headlights turn into a light bulb moment, I'm like, yes, I got this. I got this. So yes, so self-satisfaction and pride and respect and any accomplishments that you make, those are your intrinsic motivations. So you have to have those intrinsic motivations in order to get through what motivates you. So ladies, tell me a little bit about what motivates you. Well, he's not a lady. I made you wake up.
What motivates me personally are my grandchildren. What motivates me work-wise is the productivity and satisfaction that my team of the techs give every day, no matter how short staffed we might be.
They pull it out, yeah.
They are, that motivates me to encourage them more and to say, you've got this, you make me look good.
So it's like they give you, you give them, it's a win-win situation. So those are, yes, those are great examples that you gave of how you are motivated. So you just have to make sure that in your action plan, you mention how you're going to motivate yourself to finish that plan, okay? It's an important thing. I'm a tactile person. Either you write it down or you dictate it into some sort of device. Do whatever you can to have a visual so that you can follow it through your process, whatever your process is. So then you have to have some goals along with that, right? You just don't make up a plan from the start unless you have an end goal. Maybe your end goal is to be an entrepreneur. Maybe it's to get out of X-ray. You have to have a goal for personal growth. So you have to define those clear standards for your, finding what your strengths are and developing them as you move along your pathway, right? So you want to branch out into another field in imaging. I had a young lady at the University of Maryland, and when I was working as a CT manager, and I was just doing my rounds to the department, and I said to her, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "What are you studying?" I was noticing there was a little downtime in the trauma section, which doesn't happen often at the University of Maryland, but there was a little bit of downtime. And Margot was her name. And she said, "I'm studying for my IT finals." I said, "IT finals? Oh, that's interesting." She said, "Well, I got to be honest with you. I hate X-ray. I hate this job." I said, "Margot, what's the matter?" She said, "It's not what I thought it was going to be." I said, "What can I do to help you?" I didn't take offense to that. She had a goal to complete what she started in the X-ray field as a CT tech, but then she was changing her career. Tell me what I can do to help you. Have you been to HR and applied for some financial assistance? Have you, because we would get $5,000 a year. She said, "I didn't even think of that. I didn't think since I wasn't going to stay here that they would do that." Absolutely, they will. Let's get you the application. Let's get you online. So I helped her out because I'm not going to judge her for wanting to leave. She's got to follow her own pathway. This is what we do as leaders, and this is what we do this is how I'm encouraging my own children in their lives. Or you, if you come up to me and say, "I'm having a little bit of difficulty deciding what I want to be when I grow up," let me help you out there, because I can. Because I'm going to just ask you some leading questions and have you explain to me what's on your mind, okay? So examples, so some of the goals that you could do is, this is a big one. I had one of my girls at the Sinai household, she says, "I hate these 360 reviews we have to do." She said, "I can't think of anything that I need to improve on." I said, "Look, Giselle, just say you need to improve on your time management skills, because who doesn't? We all have problems with that at one point or another. We're ahead of schedule or behind schedule. I don't know anybody's ahead of schedule, but so then you have to cultivate your emotional intelligence. And like I just exampled, be an active listener. When Margot said that to me, I didn't judge her. I wanted to listen to why. It wasn't for her. I get that. It's not for everybody. And you get into kind of get into a hole when you choose a career and you say, "I don't have any other way out." But she did. And I have to commend her for that. So you have to grow within yourself. When you grow within yourself, there's certain things you can get there. You can read a book, you can find a new hobby. I taught myself how to stain glass. Love doing it. I love the big pictures, but I don't like those little pictures. They drive me crazy. So improve your public speaking skills. Not everybody's a public speaker, and I get that. A lot of people just like to listen. They enjoy that. But if you talk about a subject that you're really familiar with, like building a fire for some people, or barbecuing a steak, if you talk about that outwardly to people and you give a presentation on it, you start feeling a little bit more comfortable in your little shoes. So, and then the biggest thing about this is meet new people. You're in a classroom today with 16 or 15 others. Meet somebody. Go to somebody's. I met Diane this morning. I think I fell in love. She's a sweet person. You got to get to know her. She's from here, by the way. Character. Character cannot be developed in ease and quiet. Only through experiences of trials and suffering can the soul be strengthened, vision cleared, ambition inspired, and success achieved. And that was by Helen Keller, who was blind and deaf. Did that stop her? No. I don't know if my video will play. So this was a video about Helen Keller. And since it doesn't look like it's going to play, I'm just going to move forward. But it was a really cute little 3-minute video about Helen Keller and how her life evolved. She was misunderstood when she was small. She wasn't born without her hearing. She wasn't born without her sight. At the age of 18 months old, she lost both of them. So she had enormous obstacles to overcome. And we all have obstacles in our daily lives every day. One of my obstacles today, I didn't get any sleep last night. I always get a little keyed up before a presentation, and I always want to do the best job I can for my audience, and I don't want to let anybody down. So all these things are playing in my mind. I'll sleep tonight, but last night was a little bit of an obstacle. But adrenaline's got me going now. So I'll get through this class, and then later on I'll go. Ugh. But obstacles are in our daily lives. To this day, Helen Keller remains an example for a lot of people of overcoming many, 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 many obstacles. First woman who had a disability to graduate with a bachelor's degree in her time. She wrote numerous books. She is a role model for many people still to this day. So where her life is concerned, she did what she had to do to overcome all of the barriers that were put in front of her to become what she became later in life. So don't let your self-doubt get in the way, get in your own way, because sometimes that's going to happen. I don't know how many times while I was getting that last degree that I was struggling. You're going to struggle, right? It's what life's about. Things aren't just handed to most every person. You're going to have those struggles. You're going to be frustrated. I remember raising 4 kids. There was a frustrating something every day, but they're awesome people now. So it was worth it in the end, even though there are days I'm going to, never mind. So then you're going to feel challenged. But that's when you excel. That's when things start coming together. That challenge is going to motivate you to move forward and overcome it. So got to move through all those. Lastly, how many in here have never had a challenge? Yeah, that's what I thought. How many in here have learned so much from having challenges? Everybody's hand better be up, because if you don't have those challenging times where you struggle and you fail, then you'll never know what success is, ever. You'll always be wondering. It just doesn't come on a silver platter to most people. You got to have that adversity in life in order to move forward. All right, I'm going to make sure I'm doing good. Okay. All right, so these are some character factor traits that will help to save you in your career development. I think they're recording this, so you should have these available to you. A lot of them are, accountability. I'm one of the most accountable people. I will tell you if I screwed up. I will tell you when I have, even disappointed myself. I have a lot of self-awareness. I have empathy, all of those things that make me who I am. So you have to figure out, of these traits, what are your most valued traits, your cherished traits about you? What do you like about you? What I like about me is my energy. I know that. A lot of people don't like that, but that's not my, that's their deal and that's not mine. So I like that energy that I kind of bring out. And then what are your greatest obstacles? You have to pinpoint what you're putting in front of yourself, what your own obstacles are, so that you can move past that and get over it. Just move on. You got to move on over that. So your individual character traits are that unique representation of you, and there's nobody else like you, and there never will be. You might have had a clone. I have my little mini-me. Out of my 4 kids, one that looks just like me. I said, I'm sorry, Michelle. She said, Mom, you gave me your feet. I said, I'm sorry, Michelle. Mom, you gave me your nose. I'm sorry, Michelle. But she's the most beautiful young lady. So those are the things that will help you to kind of draw out of yourself how you're getting in your own way, right? So you want to get past that. I am a diehard empath. If you're feeling something and you're telling me about it, I'm with you. I'm feeling it with you. I'm going to the mattress with you and your feelings. I'm going to either laugh, cry, or we're going to have a really good session. So you have to make sure that whatever your character traits are, that you are representing yourself in an authentic way. Just be you, because there are several people in this room and not one of you are alike, right? So when I talk about empathy, I don't know how to make these videos work. Does anybody know how to make these videos work? But this was a video about empathy. And in the video, it's funny. The woman is, her name is Brenda Brown, and she's a great speaker. She's talking about empathy. She's talking about when the difference between empathy and sympathy. And empathy is when you really can get into the person, be in their shoes, know what they're feeling. And sympathy is just, oh, yeah, that's really great. At least you have, you know, what you have. So, which I don't know why it's not playing. It's driving me crazy. But anyway, when you have empathy, so again, when I have empathy, my husband does not. But you can train people. The girls are laughing because they know. I come home from work. Oh my God, I had a really hard day. And here's what happened. And I had this and this and that. And he's like, I got this. I'm gonna solve this problem for you. I'm like, no, time out. I just want you to listen. I just want you to say, it's gonna be okay, babe. I just want you to shut up. I don't want to hear what you think. You're retired 7 years now. What do you know about the workplace now? You know? And I say, this is what I said, babe, I love him to death. He's my favorite husband. He's my third one. I'm keeping him. I've been with him 20 years now. But I got to teach you something about empathy, bud. If you listen to me, you're going to hear so much. You're going to learn so much. You just listen for a minute. I'm trying to teach him empathy, and he's doing so well. One time he said, you know, how did that make you feel? And I went, what? Who are you? How did that make me feel? Well, geez, let me tell you about it. He really didn't want to hear it, but I gave it to him anyway because he was home all day with the cats, and I'm going to give him my, workplace experience. So remember, not everything is as it seems. You walk down the hall, you say hi to your employees, and you say, hey, Shelby, how are you today? And then you walk past him. When I did that to Shelby, he smiled. And he was getting ready to say something, but I moved past him. That's not what your employees need. They need you to be there for them. They need that connection with you. Shelby, how are you today? You're great. How's your family? You said, boy, he's a one answer guy. Great, good. Tell me about your family. See, he's a little taken aback. He's like, really? You want me to tell you about your family? Absolutely, Shelby, tell me about your family.
We've been married for 15 and a half years. 3 kids of our own, and we foster, and we're adopted.
Oh my God, that's amazing. Awesome. He's fostering and he's adopting. He's got 3 kids of his own. His house is full of love. My empath is coming out. I'm like, God, it's amazing. Sometimes I didn't know what to do with the 4 kids I had. But you get through it. That's really amazing. But you have to. When you're in your place of business, it's not just business. These are your work family people. These are the people you're with more on some occasions than you're with your own family. So when you pass them in the hallway, don't just pass them. Be with them for just that moment. I actually passed a couple of people talking in the hallway, and they were talking about how horrible an MRI had gone. And I just passed them, and I was busy with somebody else, but I was going to come back to that. And so I did, because it was important to me to acknowledge my lead MRI's feelings. Even though she wasn't talking to me, I knew she was having a struggle. So I wanted to be there for her. So make sure that as you go through your development of your career, that you don't lose track of how you got where you're going and how you're gonna get where you're gonna be, because those are really important too. You're gonna need people to get there, right? You can't do it all on your own. No man's an island. I believe that wholeheartedly. You're not standing on an island alone and trying to survive. So much for my cute little videos. Success will be within your reach only when you can start reaching for it, right? So nobody's going to come to you and say, hey, I got this. Well, maybe they did, because they did that for me. So yeah, somebody's going to do that one day, but you're going to have to earn it, because people are going to recognize who you are, right? They're going to see what you're doing, and they're going to say, hey, I got a job for you, and I know you're going to be great in it. What do you think? And then you tell them about it. People, that does happen. So you put yourself out there and you get in return, right? So what does success in your career look like to you? Jen? I keep picking on her.
Success for me personally is an engaged team, and we are all going in the same direction towards the same goal, supporting each other along the way.
I don't think you can be successful if you're not supporting your team, right? Jill, what do you think?
Completely agree.
Yeah. You have to have, like I said, no man's an island. You have to have that ability to be there for your staff, to let them know you're vulnerable too. You take those things with you when you change careers. So I went from being a CT tech at the University of Maryland Medical Center to being a director of imaging service at Sinai Hospital. I knew I could not get promoted at the University of Maryland Medical Center. Why? Because my boss had that job. And she didn't tell me, hey, Catherine, come try to take my job. I can't tell you how many one of my texts I said, you know, you have potential, come take my job. And I meant it. I literally meant it, come take my job. One person actually took me up on it, so I started mentoring her. I said, you know, I'm gonna retire in 5 years. So I wanna mentor you for the next 5 years. Are you in? Her name was Chrissy. She said, yeah, I'm in. I said, fantastic, let's start. A year later, I said, Chrissy, I'm gonna have to move that up. She said, what? I said, gee, I got another job. I'm going to be a director in Sinai Hospital because my boss has been there 35 years. She ain't going nowhere. She's still there today, 3 years later. That's her job, right? So I had to go elsewhere to find. So remember that. You may have to go outside of my lovely University of Maryland comfort zone to find that job, where I knew everybody, where I knew the Epic system like it was the back of my hand and the PAC system, and I had to go relearn all of that. But that's what I wanted. So I followed my dream. So what does your career look like for you? Where is it going to take you in the future? How are you going to get there? Those are the important things. What are your priorities? You have to list those things, know what you're doing, and to be passionate about it. If you don't have a passion for it, why put yourself there? It's not going to work out for you. I had a passion for CT the minute I saw it. My 4-year-old was having a sinus infection. Was up all night. He was always having sinus infections, one after another. Poor kid. The allergies would cause the infection. We'd get it cleared up, and another one would come. Called the Air Force Base clinic, and I said, I need to make an appointment for my son Zachary to see Colonel Wilder. And the lady put me on hold, and I said, okay, I'm waiting. 7:30 morning. Zach he was sleeping now, but I wasn't. I was a frantic mom, number 4 child, still frantic about this sick kid. So Colonel Wilder gets on the phone. She says to me, what's wrong, Mom? Wow, talk about awesome. I said, well, Zach's sick again. She says, bring him in. Just come on in. So I took him in. She ordered a CAT scan. Back then, he was 4. I can't do math in my head. So that was 34 years ago. So not a lot of CAT scans going on 34 years ago. They were kind of still new, doing single slice acquisition. So I go in, Zach had to be put to sleep. It took me forever. I took some books. My anatomy physiology just started school, and didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up in the medical profession, but I knew I wanted to be in the medical profession. And during that time, the technologist came out and he says, come on in, Mom, bring your child, your sleeping child in here. And so I brought him in, put him on his belly for his sinus exam, and I came out, he says, you know, you can stay here. You can watch. So I watched the CAT scan, and I was sucked in from that moment on. CAT scan is my love. It's my first love. It'll always be my love. So what are you passionate about? I was passionate about CAT scan. I still am. Can you be that passionate? Right? So you have to have also the determination to get there. Like I said, it was very difficult getting through high school. By the way, I didn't get through high school. I was dropped out. I was 16 and pregnant. But where am I today? I had determination that I wasn't going to be that uneducated person that got pregnant at 16. So you have to be determined. What's your reality? Where are you going to do? What are you going to do? How are you going to figure it out? That is all within you. You have to make what you want happen. It comes from within. Get rid of the obstacles, remove them. They're meaningless, right? Find a way to get there. Fuel that passion. If it's money, find out how to get free money. There's all kinds of free money out there. If it's a partner that's in your way, kick them to, just kidding. Kick 'em to the curb. But you have to push yourself forward to succeed. So find out what it is. One of the biggest things that we have trouble with when we are in the throes of making a change in our life is communicating what we need, right? The big C. That's the big C word. A lot of people have difficulty communicating in life. I have sometimes trouble talking. But since effectively communicating is part of career success, you need to make sure that you communicate your needs to whomever it is going to help you get there. So if you don't communicate your needs, then nobody will ever be there to help you. We were going to play a desert island game, and I don't have a lot of time left, but I do want to talk about mentorship. So we'll complete that later. We'll maybe play that out in the lobby later when we had a couple of drinks. But this is one of the most important things that I can leave with you today, mentorship. So we have a mentor and a mentee, and it's very, very important that if you want to move forward in your career, you find somebody that you can attach yourself to and learn from. I can't tell you the importance of that. I was talking with Diana, and I just met her this morning, and I love her already. I was talking to her in the lobby, and we were talking about this type of thing. You have to find, and I was giving her a business opportunity, by the way. She's going to run with it. So you have to find somebody that will mentor you up through your career change, through your entrepreneurship, through your promotion. And once you find that person, make sure you have that synergy with each other. Make sure that their goals are your goals. You're going to pick somebody in your life that you want to emulate. Who do you want to emulate? So that's a real, if your chief is that person that gets down and dirty, rolls their sleeves up and is with the rest, that's an amazing mentor. I had a person in another conference that I was doing. He said, my dad was my mentor and nobody can replace him. And I'm like, there's my empath going, oh, I love you. Find that mentor. That is one of the key components to your ultimate success. So with that said, the last thing on my plate for you today to share with you, because I'll share my entire plate with you, is networking. If you don't network with the people here today, you have done yourself a disservice. If you don't get some phone, how many have new phone numbers? Oh, you guys, be still my heart. If you don't get more phone numbers and find those people from East to West Coast, I said, here we are, an East and West Coast girl this morning. If you don't find those connections, you're going to have a hard time doing some networking. I mean, really quick, two people here, John Beal and Nicole Donraj. Love those people. Met John in Launchstoel in Germany. And I had an opportunity by Medscape to give a conference, an 8-session conference over 2 years. It was amazing. So they said, well, here it is Wednesday. They said, real quick story. Friday, I need your answer. And oh, by the way, you have to get a partner. You have to do you have to be co-chairs. I said, oh my God, I don't know anybody who's as dumb as I am and wants to speak in front of a bunch of people or as motivated. So anyway, at that moment I said, Lord, and I'm a believer, please take this up. And if it's bound to happen, please send me somebody. So I did my part too. I put it out on LinkedIn and Facebook. Dumb thing to do on Facebook. My family was the only one that responded, and they responded with jibes and barbs. Of course they did. So then John Beal, he says to me, Kitty Cat, I got somebody for you. I said, okay, give me her number. On the way home from work that day, I called her. And she was my best friend from that moment forward. I absolutely adore her. She's got drive, determination, intelligence. I love being around her. She's an amazing person. But if it weren't for my networking and keeping those close contacts, would I have gotten such an amazing partner? I don't think so. I don't think so. And it was a successful endeavor. All right, here we are. I don't even have time for questions, but if you have any questions, just stop me in the hallway. Stop me in the hallway. I appreciate you all listening today. It's been wonderful. I hope you have those tools, at least something new to take with you today, or at least a little bit more energy, because mine, to help you get through developing in your career. Thank you.